A new survey shows that 58% of job seekers say that job interviewing is out of control right now. And this is according to the newsletter The Hustle, where they surveyed 3,500 job seekers and found out some crazy stories about what's happening out there. Look, interviewing is grueling right now. If you think it's a good job market, you're dead wrong. And if you're out interviewing, you know what we're talking about. Stories in this included being on a Zoom interview while giving a presentation to the manager and watching the manager get up with her laptop and go make a sandwich without the sound off, right? 8 rounds of interviews and getting ghosted, and so many more stories to confirm that it's just awful. And folks, I've been telling you that for a while. Job interviewing has gotten crazy, but let's unpack why. First of all, it's a buyer's market. So when there's that many candidates, qualified candidates on the market, companies feel obligated to go out and see what's available. Think about when you're making a really expensive purchase, because essentially that's what's happening here. They're investing thousands, maybe hundreds of thousands of dollars in you. And so they need to kick the tires, look under the hood, make sure they're getting the right person. They're not just going to pick the first person that comes along. And so they draw out the hiring process in order to compare and contrast people and hopefully hire the right person. Secondly, thanks to AI, it's really sped up the death of the resume and has created a lot of recruiting confusion. Now, let me explain what I mean. People are applying online with fake resumes. They're using tools like ChatGPT to directly match themselves in order to get through the ATS system, only for a recruiter to then call this person and do an interview and waste their time to find out this person isn't really who they said they were. So this is creating a lot of messiness in the recruitment process. And trust me, recruiters are pretty upset about it. What they're having to do now is do authentication that somebody is who they say they are. So how do we do this? Well, it draws the process out again. There's more interviews involved. There's more testing involved. You've probably experienced asynchronous video where they send you a link and say, hey, record yourself answering these questions. It'll come back to us. We'll look at it and then we'll decide if we're going to interview you. This is the new reality. It's making the whole process of job interviewing super, super messy. But the good news is that this is actually also speeding up the improvement of this process, which we've been waiting for a long time. And let me share more on that. As somebody who's been in this business for 20 years, helping job seekers get interviews and get new jobs, I can tell you that the single most important part of the entire process is the first interview. That first time you get on with a recruiter or a hiring manager and they're actually talking to you, because that's the moment where you're authenticating yourself that you are who you say you are, but that you're also providing what's called the impact evidence that you're the right candidate for the job. So your resume or even your LinkedIn profile, all that does is list your features. And in the beginning, they're comparing you features to features, and they get lots of people who look the same. But that first interview is where you start to break away from the pack, where you're able to convey what's called your benefits, or what we refer to as your UVA, your unique value add. This is the moment where you can really shine and catapult yourself into being the must-have candidate. So if that's the case, if that's where the really important stuff happens, how do we make that happen first? We do that by creating videos of ourselves answering some of the most common questions we know we're going to get asked on any job interview we go on, and proactively sending those to recruiters and hiring managers. Now, before you throw that out the window and say, I don't want to be an influencer, that's not what I'm suggesting here. What we're talking about is documenting your knowledge and expertise. And let's talk about the advantages around this. When you record yourself answering those 3 to 5 most common questions you're going to get, you can then send that off and you don't have to record it every single time. And you can proactively choose who you want to send it to as a way of introduction. Now, how do I know this is working? Well, I've been telling you about the McCoy mobile app for a year now. And I fell in love with this thing when the founders brought it to me, and I kicked the tires and I tested every element of it. The reality is that when you use a tool like the McCoy mobile app, you're able to record those series of videos, put them all together on one URL, one link, kind of like a LinkedIn profile link, but one link where those videos are, and now send them to recruiters and hiring managers in order for them to open them. And the cool part is when they do open them and watch them, you get an email notification that someone's reviewing your reel. This is the kind of game-changing technology that's going to actually help you. And for those people that say, I'm not good on camera, well, guess what? I have tested this with people in their 50s who are worried about age discrimination. They're getting jobs. I've tested it with introverts who have been able to record and re-record and get something they're comfortable with, and they get a job. I have worked with all sorts of different people in focus groups over the last year with McCoy to really kick the tires on this thing, and it's working. So if you haven't tried some tool like this, you really should, because video is that way for you to authenticate yourself and provide that impact evidence that happens in the first job interview. And you can do it at scale to a bunch of different people in order to get job interviews and beat out the competition. Okay. Look, you got to play differently in this game. You've got to find a different way to compete when it's this competitive. And this is one of the ways that you can do that. So I hope it helps, folks. Keep trying, keep learning, keep the questions coming. I love you all. Good luck. Go get them.